All right, let's get into it. Today, we're diving deep into the engine that powers the world's most profitable digital products. We're talking about engineered, predictable profit. Forget about luck or hoping for the best. This is a system, a machine, designed from the ground up to create a constant stream of revenue. And it does it by tapping directly into some very basic human psychology.
So to really wrap your head around this, just look at the difference between the old way and the new. On the left, you've got the old gamble. Think of traditional businesses with huge fixed costs and revenue that's, well, all over the place. It's totally dependent on chance. But on the right, that's the new certainty. We're talking about digital assets that are built to generate predictable cash flow through carefully, brilliantly engineered engagement. This isn't just a small shift, it's a complete change in how value is created.
But before we can really appreciate just how revolutionary this new certainty is, we have to understand the problem it solves. And that problem is the constant, gut-wrenching uncertainty of doing business the old way.
Let's use an example we can all picture: a restaurant. I mean, it's the perfect and often painful real-world example of what it's like to walk a financial tightrope every single day.
Look at that number, 2 to 6%. That's what's left over for the average restaurant after they paid for the food, the staff, the rent, the lights, everything. The margins are razor thin. So you can see how just one slow month isn't just a little setback, it can be a total catastrophe.
And here's why. It's the burden of these fixed costs. The rent is due every month, the utility bills don't care if you had a slow week, your staff needs to get paid. These costs are a constant financial anchor, dragging the business down and making any kind of predictable profit feel almost impossible.
Okay, so now let's completely shift gears. Let's leave the world of brick and mortar behind and meet the central character in this new digital economy. We're going to call this user archetype the collector.
Now, the collector isn't your average user. They don't just pop in for 10 minutes and then leave. Oh no, they are invested. We're talking dozens, sometimes hundreds, of hours building up their digital empire. They are absolutely in it for the long haul.
You see, their brain is wired for this stuff. They crave continuous progress and a clear sense of status. Every single hour they put into this digital world isn't just time spent, it's an investment. And those digital items they earn, they aren't just pixels on a screen. They become a real, tangible part of their identity. So, this leads us to the billion-dollar question, right? How on earth do you create this kind of deep, long-term commitment? How do you actually build the perpetual fuel engine for your business?
Well, the most successful platforms have a whole arsenal of psychological hooks. First, there's social pressure. You have obligations to your team. You have leaderboards to climb. Then you have variable rewards, unpredictable little dopamine hits that keep you coming back for more. And maybe most importantly, they tap into sunk cost psychology. The idea that the more time you invest, the harder it is to walk away. After 300 hours, quitting doesn't feel like stopping a game. It feels like you're abandoning a piece of yourself.
And this quote from Game Quitters just hits the nail on the head. The end goal isn't just to get a user's attention for a little while. The goal is to become an integral part of their life, of their identity.
Okay, so we've got this deep psychological engagement. But how does that turn into actual dollars and cents? Let's look at the monetization machine.
Once the collector is fully bought in, the system presents them with two offers that are almost impossible to refuse. On one hand, you have the small in-app purchases, the speed-ups, the boosters, the things they need to stay on top. On the other hand, you have the VIP subscriptions, the exclusive content, the unique items that signal elite status.
And here is the genius part. For the collector, spending money isn't really seen as a purchase. It's framed as necessary maintenance. They are simply paying to protect the huge investment of time, effort, and identity that they've already poured into this world.
So, this whole engineered cycle is what transforms that old financial gamble we talked about into guaranteed, predictable cash flow right from day one. It's an engine that runs on the fuel of human commitment.
But you know, it's not quite that simple. There's a catch. These incredibly powerful systems have to walk a very fine line, a psychological tightrope. Because if you push too hard, you risk triggering a fascinating paradox in the user's mind. Which of course brings us to a really critical question. When we engineer these experiences for maximum engagement and monetization, what happens to the simple, genuine fun of it all? Well, psychologists actually have a name for this. It's called the over-justification effect. Basically, studies have shown that if you take an activity that someone already finds fun and rewarding on its own, like, say, drawing, and you start giving them external rewards for it, like badges or points, their original, natural interest in drawing can actually go down.
And this table here makes that distinction perfectly clear. You've got intrinsic motivation, which is driven by pure joy and creativity. The goal is set by you. Then you've got extrinsic motivation, which is all about what the system gives you, the rewards, the points. The real danger here is that the system can accidentally replace that intrinsic joy with extrinsic pressure, turning what was once a fun hobby into something that feels more like a job.
And all of this brings us to our final and maybe the most crucial question for anyone who is building or even just participating in these amazing digital worlds.
I love this insight from mathematician Po Shen Lo, because it really points to the answer. It suggests that long-term sustainable success can't just be about clever psychological tricks. At its core, it has to be about creating genuine, real value for the user.
And that's really the thought I want to leave you with. These engagement engines are unbelievably powerful, and they're becoming more and more a part of our everyday lives. So as we design this digital future, we have to constantly be asking ourselves, where's the line? Where is the line between creating a truly compelling experience and just building a very, very comfortable cage?